I would say it was around 2001 when the immigrant population started to move into St. Cloud. Employers really started looking at the immigrant population as people that can help fill the needs in their workforce. I really believe that CentraCare is trying to do what's best for the community.
Outside of Somalia itself, Minneapolis is probably the largest concentration of Somalis in the world, and we believe that St. Cloud is second. And that has been a big change for our community. The CentraCare of today is different from the CentraCare of 20 years ago, and we need our leaders to think differently, recruit differently.
CentraCare is the largest employer north of the metro. St. Cloud, and in fact most American communities, are communities of immigrants. My grandparents immigrated in the late 1800s. That is the story of how America was made. But not only is it about employment, but it's also about improving the health of our communities, because that's really what we're here for.
I'm originally from Sierra Leone, West Africa. We had a civil war that extended for over 10 years. And so during that process, my parents had to get us out of there. And I was granted asylum, and so that's how I was able to stay here. And then I just continued on. Living here and going to school and making myself better. Came and interviewed. And what was striking to me was I could see somebody from an African origin that had a job here and was working here and lived in this community. And so that excited me a lot about the company. Gave me a lot of hopes that I could build my life here.
I'm a respiratory therapist. I help people breathe if they're having issues breathing. What I appreciate the most is just the fact that I'm treated as a professional. I have my license and I'm qualified to do the job, and that's all that matters, and that's what they look at.
We know that not only is diversity and inclusion with the community that we serve the right thing to do, it's also a good business decision. The more diverse we become, the stronger we become.
CentraCare is a healthcare organization that's looking how it interacts with the community differently. About 25% of health care is related to the healthcare institution. But a good chunk of healthcare is what happens in the community. And so what role does CentraCare need to play?
We have our summer youth employment camp that CentraCare is a great part of. We have 100 youth that come here to CentraCare.
We're identifying opportunities for them to be active participants within CentraCare. We pay them. We have jobs for them to do. So not only are they learning skills, but we're benefiting from their participation in our organization. They do want to be a part of the American dream.
Really what we want to be able to do is live peaceful lives and take care of ourselves and our family. It's going to take some time, I would say a generation, because the kids that are born here or the ones that are growing up here will be a lot like me, and I think I'm doing okay. But it usually, I think, kind of takes a couple of generations before people really become integrated into a society.
I actually have in my office a letter from the 1860s from a Benedictine sister asking to start a hospital because the immigrants to St. Cloud needed to have a healthcare organization from the 1860s. Much like the Germans and the Norwegians and the Lutherans that came here, this is a way for us to continue that journey and pay it forward.
I see the passion that starts at the leadership level with Dr. Holman on down for hiring the immigrant population, for working with youth, for looking for that next generation of the workforce. They are just a real leader in the community.
For a typical immigrant, the United States represents a beacon of hope, a beacon of light.
Definitely hope. Hearing that all the time from friends and family members, especially the ones in the refugee camp, it was literally they lived and breathed it. That's all they thought about. Life will begin when you get to America.
That is something that I think we are very thankful for, is that we are not in this journey alone. We share it with many other people, and we appreciate that.